I want to talk about one of the earlier modifications I made to my second gen Nissan Xterra. And I think if you have an off-road vehicle, you want to explore, you want to do rock crawling, you want to do four-wheel driving, you want to see what's at the end of Forest Service roads. One of the things that I think you're going to get a real bang for buck on is onboard air. And I like having a compressor. You know, there are different options that you can do for this, but to me, getting a good set of all-terrain tires or mud terrains, if that's what you decide makes sense for you, and the ability to air down and air up easily, it's like making your vehicle into a transformer in a way. This, relatively simple vehicle with relatively simple suspension rides so much better in those environments if I air down from the 35 psi that I normally run down to 20 or 18. And having onboard air means you don't have a lot of excuses not to do it. So I want to show you what I did. I've got the ARB single compressor. I did some research. I think there's probably a number of good options on the market, and I think this is one of them. I was able to mount it here between the airbox and the front of the vehicle. I found a forum post where someone else had done this, and I riffed on that design. I've got a piece of, I think it's 3/16 aluminum plate here that I drilled some holes, and you maybe can see down here where I bolted it to part of the support member here. And that has served for me as a means to mount this plate, which comes with the compressor. So if I need to service this compressor, I can remove these two bolts and swing it out. I have not needed to do that, but I really do like that option. I've got the compressor wired to a waterproof or weatherproof switch here. I didn't take the time or the effort to wire it inside the vehicle, and this has worked really well for me. I usually have the engine running unless I'm just doing something quick like airing up a mountain bike tire. But otherwise, I've already popped the hood I've got the engine running, so I got good ventilation, and I'm gonna plug the air hose in here. I bought the compressor. I think some of these bits and bobs I did have to buy separately, like the cover here. And then it does come with a hose, which works just fine, but I opted to use my own hose, which matches what I use in my basement workshop. It just pops into this coupler. And then I use these Prevost, I think is how you say it, connections. Again, this is just my own idiosyncrasy, but these work really well. This works well for me even in cold temperatures here in Minnesota. You can do all kinds of different ways to air up your tires, but I do highly recommend these style chucks. They will mount right onto the Schrader valve and hold there. I used to use this, and I had timed it so that I knew that from about 20 psi back up to 35, it took my particular tires about 1:15. So I would just plug it in, watch my watch, 1:15 goes by, check it with the kind of check tool that you would get at any gas station, the kind of gauge, excuse me. I did, though, take the time to buy this ARB inflator. I like having the manual one so that I don't have an excuse for a battery to go dead. These are getting harder to source. And I grafted on, again, this hose because I like things to match. It's just how I like to do it. But having a way to air up, these particular fittings were very inexpensive on Amazon. They came in a 2-pack. Here's what it would look like if you just went with this guy. And then, again, many options. You don't have to go with the name brand, but I think they are reasonably priced for what they are. This is what I use to air down. Again, different ways to do it. But I like this easy deflator. I can air each tire down in about 20 seconds. So to me, if I'm going to drive down, you know, a washboard road and it's, you know, at least 2 miles down there, to me that's 2 miles down, 2 miles back, and that's usually worth it to take the time to stop and air down and then air back up.